Hey, another video from Sheshnaag Yoga Center. Hope everything's okay for you guys. This one's just about opinions and how I believe we are walking opinions, simply encased within a mortal frame. So throughout our life, through societal, genetic, parental, cultural conditioning, we develop a certain belief system. Of course, the physical beliefs are more evident, and then when we move into the more subtle dimensions of beliefs, they become not so much validatable by the collective, but more like a subjective experience prone to individual interpretation. So growing up, we develop what we hold to be true and untrue. So let's say, for instance, we had a bucket of warm water. 100 people out of 100 could walk along to that bottle of water and they could put their arm in it and say it was a certain temperature, like warm, and everyone felt it while it was the same temperature. Then there would be a majority interpretation which involved unanimously everyone, and they would agree that the physical experience of the water was warm. So many things and beliefs are put in place similar to this. Ultimately, they start in the physical dimension from the time you can breathe, and throughout your life you set upon interpreting and experiencing things to form a belief system. And the belief system within it contains two things: what you hold to be true and what you hold to be untrue. So it is when you experience something to be true that you get a sense of belonging through validation, and ultimately this provides you with a sense of fulfillment. So let's say, for instance, I wrote a book called Why the Astros. It was just recently that I sent a copy of this book to a man who lived in Houston, Texas. He quite enjoyed the book, and he also appreciated the title, which was a question regarding the synchronistic choice of choosing the Astros, or a team to do with the etheric levels of reality, it within their name, in relation to why the book was written, which had a context very specific to the title, Why the Astros. So I sent him the book, and what is this? 2014, 16 years after I wrote it. And I thought that he would be ultimately the first person to fully appreciate both the title and the synchronistic coincidence of following the team, since he lived in Houston, Texas, where the Houston Astros play and are based. So this personally gave me a sense of validation, because Chris could appreciate why I wrote it. Many things are the same, and when we do feel good or talk to people in our everyday life and get a positive experience, it is simply through the validation of our own opinions and what we hold to be true that is providing us with a sense of belonging and fulfillment. That is why people that express what we hold to be untrue, we move away from, because firstly they are confrontational to our own belief system, so we feel uncomfortable. And secondly, we make either a conscious choice or an unconscious choice through the lack of validation and lack of self-belonging to either stay around the person or ultimately depart their company. So all I see, no matter what religion, race, country, nation, political party, whatever your choice is, ultimately the human being is simply a shitload of opinions encased temporarily within a mortal frame, being the human framework. Ultimately, on an unconscious level, most people are interacting on a daily basis, seeking validation of their own interpretation of truth through the projection of another person's opinions, so ultimately they feel better about holding their own opinion as true. And similarly, you can get validation through what you hold to be untrue. And there is a lot of that going on. And ultimately I can be judged by people and placed into either a category of validating their truth or confronting what they hold to be true. So I validate their untruth. If I validate their truth, then I am seen as a friend. If I validate their untruth or confront their truth, I am seen as a foe. Ultimately, I am no different. It is simply where their judgment of me fell relative to, firstly, what they held to be true and untrue, and secondly, what I expressed and where it sat in their basket of beliefs and opinions. That's all I got to say about opinions. I hope it makes sense. If not, Sheshnaag Yoga Centre, sheshnaag.com. What on earth is Kundalini? I'm growing a beard and trying to wait until I'm old enough for some people to respect me, if you're wondering. Anyway, that's my opinion. Peace. Om Namah Shivaya.